Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your Stardom Cinderella Tournament 2023 Bracketology. That's right, we are doing a bracketology for the Cinderella Tournament this year, which is effectively our preview and predictions for the entire tournament. So, John, how do you feel about our brackets this year for Stardom?
Man, it looks like it's going to be one hell of a Cinderella tournament. We've got two new faces coming to Stardom, represented by X and XX, respectively, on opposite sides of the bracket. I know you and I have had a lot of discussion between Stardom live reactions about the Cinderella tournament. If you guys keep up with all of our Stardom content, you know what those conversations have more or less entailed. And if this is your first time checking us out with anything Stardom related, I would recommend that you subscribe to Stardom if you haven't already. And I think you picked a fine one here because I think we'll be giving our thoughts on how we feel about these competitors, about their chances, and pretty much the state of Stardom. I personally think Stardom's cooking right now. And usually, given that the Cinderella tournament winner goes after the Wonder of Stardom championship, I don't think that title's really ever looked better in terms of just the overall scene. And that says nothing about Kamitani, who has been absolutely wonderful as Wonder of Stardom champion. And she's in this tournament going against Mayu in the first round, which should be a banger. Um,
True.
also have to be mindful that if I remember correctly, Cinderella tournament matches have 10-minute time limits, and elimination can happen over the top rope. So if anybody's thinking like, oh, TLD, I mean that is possible, but also remember that over the top rope elimination is viable here in Cinderella tournament. So yeah, I think these brackets look awesome. I'm ready to dig into this. Unless you have any other preliminary remarks you would like to make.
I would actually, as a matter of fact. I do want us to talk about who we think X and XX might end up being.
I will say right out the gate, I have no earthly idea.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't have it the slightest clue about that. Do you have any names in mind?
one name that I've heard tossed around as someone that is most likely coming to Stardom is Kylan King.
Okay, yeah, I do remember you mentioning that. Yes,
Other than that, though, I don't have any firm ideas. I have a hope.
and your hope is
The now dubbed Trinity Star.
is that who I think it is?
Yes.
That would be amazing if so.
Formerly known as Naomi in WWE.
Yes, that would be
Yes.
incredible. That would
Apparently,
be
she
absolutely
filed a
incredible.
trademark recently for the name Trinity Star, and I thought that was really cool.
If she was a part of Club Venice,
Yeah.
perfect,
Yeah.
perfection.
I
Yes.
actually think it would be perfect if she was XX, because then there's a possibility that she could actually face Mina in the tournament, and then I figure maybe she loses to Mina and asks to join Club Venus afterwards. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, and with the dancing, like she'll take the dancing to a whole other
Oh
level
my
with her background.
god, yes.
I'm really see that gets me out of bed for sure. Like that's really exciting.
Oh, here it
Um,
is. So on March 20th, Naomi filed a trademark through Michael E. Dawkins, who has helped countless wrestlers to secure their trademarks for the term Trinity Star. And it's Star with two R's, with the United States Patent and Trademark Office. For now, it's listed only for merchandise purposes and not for entertainment purposes, so I don't know.
let's
I
see.
mean,
Let's see.
maybe if she does end up in Stardom, which again, pure speculation, she might never go there, and I wouldn't be surprised one bit if she didn't. But if we get lucky and if she makes that decision and we get to benefit off of it because we get to see her compete with all these incredible talented wrestlers, maybe she goes by Trinity Fatu. Maybe she just goes by her real name. Maybe she goes by her government official name.
Yeah, that could be. That could be. It'd be a hell of a thing for her to have a stint in Japan while Jimmy's kind of holding it down. Or wait, she is married to Jimmy, right? Not
I
Jay.
think so, yeah.
Yeah, well, Jimmy's kind of holding it down with the tag titles. So yeah, dude, it's so funny because while you're telling me about this Trinity thing, somebody just quote tweeted the news story from Fightful from 12 hours ago about that very thing. So I'm seeing it right now in front of me. That's crazy.
Nice.
But yeah, whatever she does next, I support her. But I think her in Stardom would be awesome, and I really think she would get to show just the kind of spectrum of her talents and everything in the ring. how much she can go, and she might even be able to step her game up. I mean, hell, if Mina did, Stardom does great shit all the time, so
Yeah.
I'd be very excited about
Yeah.
that. I guess neither one of us is hoping for Saudi Ano anymore because I always think about her and how I
I
just
I
think she's
am
right
not.
there.
I am no longer. Excuse me. I'm refusing to speculate her coming to Stardom ever again because if it ever does happen, then I'll just be pleasantly surprised, and if it doesn't, then I'm just not going to get disappointed.
There you go. All right. Well, is that it for preliminary remarks from you,
I think
or do
that
you have anything
covers it.
else?
Yeah, I think that's a good cover.
All right, then let's get started.
All right, awesome. Oh, actually, one more preliminary remark. I do think that if Mina does not beat Sayakami Tani for the white belt when she challenges, the winner of this tournament will.
And I do concur with you on that. And again, if people have been following our live reactions, you would know that we feel that way. But I'm glad that Ashton said it anyway, because again, this could be your first exposure to us and possibly even to Stardom. So again, subscribe to Stardom World. It's
I mean, yeah,
absolutely
we've got
amazing.
bracketology in the title. We're literally doing this during March Madness, so maybe.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, let's get started.
Okay,
Yeah.
Utami versus Nanae.
Oh, bro, you know how I feel about this one. I really fucking hope Nanae doesn't win. I'm hoping Utami takes it. I love Utami, my favorite performer in all of Stardom, one of my favorite performers in all of pro wrestling right now. I fucking adore her. I will be honest, I am genuinely afraid of a Nanae win here. I don't think that's ludicrous at all. I think it's very much on the table, but I'm tempted to just say fuck logic and go with my heart and go with Utami regardless, and I think I will do that. I also like the idea of Utami maybe eliminating Nanae and having a goddesses match in her back pocket, but I would like to say this, since we're kind of throwing things out there. I would like her to challenge for the goddesses titles with Azumi rather than Kamitani as Aphrodite again.
Ooh,
I don't think that would happen,
daring.
but I love the idea of an Azumi Utami tag team because we've
Yeah.
seen them tag up before. I think the power and the speed synergy is incredible. And yeah, I would love to see that. So if Utami does beat Nanae here, I really do hope that would lead to Queen's Quest getting in the goddesses picture because they're already in the artist picture. So why not? So yeah, I'm gonna go with Utami and just go with my heart on this one.
Do you remember Homestar Runner from the early 2000s?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, there was this cartoon that was like an online, I think it was an internet exclusive uh cartoon series. It was animated flash videos basically that were like a Newgrounds thing.
Yeah.
And it was, one of the characters was named Strong Bad, right? And I feel like an Utami Azumi team would be great to call them just Strong Fast.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
for
think that would be
sure.
great. That said, though, I feel like I may have taken the easy way out here. I have Utami and Nanae going to a draw and eliminating each other.
That could also happen. Again, TLD, there's only 10 minutes
To be
for these
clear,
Cinderella
it
tournament
doesn't even
matches. So
have
yeah.
to be a TLD either. It could be a countout. It could be double over the top rope. Like, it could be one of many things. TLD is one option, and that's probably the most likely option. But I have them eliminating each other here. We've also had a double knockout in the Cinderella tournament before.
That is true. Yeah, guys, I'm telling you right now, expect a lot of draws. In fact, I'm already trying to think about what matches I could see going to a draw. I have some ideas, and yeah, I think you're smart to even think that this one could be one. Kirby has Nane going over via over the top rope. Good to see you, Kirby. But yeah, and he also says that he thinks X and XX are Nanami and Miran. So that's
That's
interesting.
bold. That's
Yeah. All
hilarious.
right.
Okay. So I'm just gonna put it out there right now. I would say there's a less than 1% chance of either one of those being correct.
Well, we shall see. Pro wrestling is weird. So, all right, you got a draw. I got Utami going over. Let's talk about Micah versus Momo. Um, gonna be honest, man. I have Micah going over here, and
Yeah.
then you kind of renew the Utami Micah rivalry, at least per my predictions. Then you would just have Micah going straight to the, for advancing further ahead. I guess to the quarterfinal it would be.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yeah. So that's pretty much the same for me. I think I love Momo, but it's very clearly not her time right now. She is cooled off in a major way. So I and definitely think that this is a Micah dub. And yeah, because of me having Utami and Nanae going to a draw, Micah just advances all the way to the quarters, like you said. So then we've got Julia versus Sakurai. This isn't really that discussion worthy. Obviously, Julia wins here, right?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. If Julia wasn't the world champion, I might actually be tempted to pick Sakurai here. Because we've had like bizarre upsets again because of the over the top rope, condition for winning. But you gotta protect your world champion, at least for now. I don't see her losing until maybe the next round, depending on what goes on with Azumi versus Hazuki, which I have certain ideas about that. Because again, you just gotta protect your world champion. So yeah, Julia.
Okay. And then we get to Azumi versus Hazuki. I'll go first again here. I have another draw here. I have these two going to a draw because they're both challenging for the IWGP Women's Championship. This match, I did originally have Hazuki winning, and on top of that, I had Hazuki making it all the way to the finals and losing in the finals. But because the match was made official already, I have this going to a draw.
Yes, this is my first draw as well. I agree with you completely.
Awesome. Then we've got Mariah May versus Rena.
I hope Mariah wins. I could honestly see Rena stealing it though. This is a
Yeah.
bit tougher for me.
Rena stole one from Azumi either I think 2 or 3 years ago, or maybe it was last year. Like recently though.
Yeah, but you know what though? I'm gonna go with Mariah, and here's why. It's very clear that she's made a longer term commitment to Stardom than say Zaya did, because Zaya's already back. Is she back in the UK or in the States?
She
I
moved
think
to
she's
the
back.
U.S. Remember?
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so she's in the States. Mariah clearly has made a bigger commitment to Stardom. She was allowed to be in Naniwa Roulette, and I think they really like her, dude. And honestly, as they should. I like Rena, but she's already number one contender for the future Stardom title. She does not need this
Yep.
at all to
Yep.
me. So I say give it to Mariah. I'm gonna go with Mariah here.
Yep. All right, so let's do this in quadrants. So rather than moving on to Shuri Tomoka, let's back up. Let's go back and go to the next round in this quadrant. So basically, you would be talking about Utami versus Micah, and then once we get past that, we can move on to the Julia versus Mariah May match.
Okay. Okay. So what do you got here for this matchup?
I don't have a matchup because Micah's just moving on for me.
Oh yeah, I guess so. I'll have Micah beating Utami here.
Oh,
Utami is the leader of Queen's Quest, but Micah I feel like is going to need to be a bit hotter going forward because Himeka's leaving. So I'm gonna go Micah.
do you think like over the top rope, or do you think she actually just beats her?
No, in 10 minutes, there's no fucking way she beats Utami. It's got to be over the top rope.
Right.
So yeah, OTR elimination here.
Okay. So and again, I ask, do you think Utami just straight up beats Nanae in 10 minutes, or is that another over the top rope?
I would think another like over the top rope thing. I really don't see many pinfall victories happening in the 10-minute time limit. To be quite honest with you,
Oh
I
wow!
think
Don't they
that's
usually though? I feel like there are usually very few over the top rope eliminations in the Cinderella.
I mean, given who's in the tournament, it's just hard for me to conceptualize it. I will have pinfall victories, I'm sure, but just
Right.
just not in this cluster at all.
Okay, so you've got Micah then advancing. Basically, we
Yes.
both have Micah in the quarters. We just got there slightly different ways. You have her having to go
Yes.
through both Momo and Utami. I only have her having to go through Momo. Then we've got to Julia versus Mariah May. I think we both agree Julia wins, or do you disagree with that? Do you think Mariah
Hey,
advances in the shocker?
I think it's going to be a draw here. I think it's going to be a draw here personally, and I think that's how you kind of protect your red belt champion because you can't have them outright take a loss. But Mariah being a bigger girl, and just in terms of height and power and everything, and somebody that I think Stardom likes, I could see, and again because of the win conditions available, I could see them taking each other over the top rope. So I actually have a draw here for Maria and Julia.
Very interesting. So I do have Julia winning here, but the road stops for Julia at Micah. I think Micah finds a way to beat Julia. I think this is actually my first like over the top rope style finish. Basically, I think this is going to be one of those situations where like Julia thinks she's got this and she's beating Micah, but then Micah pulls something out that's like a tricky kind of thing and gets the elimination somehow. And then you just see that smirk on Micah's face afterwards, like she had like in that dude the fucking the sumo tournament. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I envision it. I think that Micah's going to get a one up on Julia here, and it might even line her up for a future red belt shot.
That is interesting thinking, man. That is interesting thinking indeed. All right, moving on.
Well, oh, you had that being a
Yeah, I had Mariah Julia being a draw, remember? That's why
well.
I said like
Okay,
Julia's just gonna
so
be
you
winning it.
just have Micah advancing just straight up.
Yeah.
Okay, so we both have
Oh,
Micah in the semi then.
yes.
Okay, Shuri versus Inaba.
Um, I'm gonna go Shuri here.
Yeah, Komomo versus Kashima.
I feel like Komomo won most recently against Kashima, so I'll give Kashima this one.
Kamitani versus Mayu.
I've really struggled with this one, man. I was actually tempted until a few minutes ago to say draw on this, but you know what? I'm actually gonna go Mayu here.
Lady C versus X.
Lady C.
Okay, very interesting. So you and I agree for the first half of this quadrant. I also think that the first half is going to be Shuri Saki in the next round, which is just perfect. But then I really, I think we're going to get Mayu versus X. And I think Mayu's going to win that, and we're going to get Mayu Kashima then in the next round. I think Kashima beats Shuri again.
Okay, interesting.
So then we're going to get Mayu Kashima, and then I do think Kashima will beat Mayu again to advance to the semis. So that's my bracket in that quadrant.
Okay, so I had Shuri beating Inaba, I had Kashima beating Komomo, I had Mayu winning here, and then Lady C. So I have Mayu beating Lady C.
Right.
I have. I'm gonna. Hmm. You know what? I'm actually gonna agree with you because Cinderella tournament isn't as intense as 5 star, and I will say Saki beats Shuri. I'm actually though gonna have Mayu beat Saki to go to the semis, so it'll be Micah versus Mayu in the semis on that side
Oh
of the
my
bracket.
God. Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Very interesting. All right. Let's get to the top right quadrant then. We've got Starlight Kid versus Haruka Umisaki. I think we both agree Kid wins here, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Amisore versus Unamon.
Unimon can't challenge for the future title, right?
Correct.
Draw. I'm gonna say draw.
Interesting. You know what? You're making me realize that I actually haven't had my bracket pulled up this entire time. So now I want to double check it and make sure that I've gotten it right so far. Um, excuse me. Um, okay. So in my original bracket, the one that I made basically as soon as Hazuki Azumi was announced, basically I made the bracket originally literally within like 2-3 days of the English version of the bracket going up on Twitter. And I had Hazuki making it to the semis against Kashima on the left side. But then once Azumi was announced, I changed the result of that to a draw, and that had a ripple effect throughout that whole top left quadrant. I actually ended up with Julia in the semifinal match against Kashima.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I'm going to walk that back and actually stick with what I predicted here with Micah beating Julia.
Okay.
But then in the top right corner, I actually did have Unimon beating Amisore.
Interesting. I like that. Okay.
Then we get to Tam Himeka. I have Himeka
Tam,
winning
definitely.
here.
Interesting. I have Tam
Well,
because it's
because
the
I
Himeka
guess here's my
retirement mode.
thing.
Yeah.
Like, God, you're probably right now that I think about it, because Tam is challenging Julia. Like, it would only make sense for her to not lose on the way to challenge Julia. But she's not going to win the Cinderella tournament, so she has to lose to someone.
Or at least draw with someone that it could be believable that she draws with them. Maybe she just draws with Himeka, but I have her just beating her, honestly.
I think the main reason I had Himeka winning here was because it's like, oh, damn, she beat the red belt contender. She should be red belt contender too, but oh gosh, shame she's retiring in a month. She can't challenge for the red belt now. Darn.
Yeah.
It's like you can give Tam that one loss in the tournament to someone that you don't have to pay it off with.
Yeah, that's true.
So you get Himeka to lose to Tam, and then she can put someone over big later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So I do have Himeka winning here, and I'm going to keep that. Natsuko versus Ruaka. I'm just picking Natsuko here.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's go.
That is one match though where I could see Ruaka winning, but like I feel like if the rest of Oedo Tai is going to get behind either one of them, it's going to be Natsuko because she's more the leader.
Yeah.
Maybe it would be like Momo and Kashima helping Natsuko with like Kid and Rina helping Ruaka, and it's like a split.
Ooh, that could be interesting.
But if it came down to that, I would still pick Natsuko. Uh,
Yeah.
okay, so that's it for the top right for the first round. Let's get to the next round. You have Kid versus Sore, right?
Actually, I wouldn't it be Kid? Kid, I think just advances because I had Ami and Unimon in a draw.
Oh, you had them going to a draw. Okay. And then you had Tam versus Natsuko, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Natsuko here.
Okay. And I actually picked Team Mecha to advance because I want her putting someone over big to be Starlight Kid because I have Starlight Kid beating Himeka then in the quarterfinals.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
But yeah, I have Kid beating Yuna, Himeka beating Natsuko, and then Kid beating Himeka to make it into the semis.
Yeah, that makes sense. Given that Tam already beat Himeka for me, and the Natsuko beats Tam, I have Kid beating Natsuko to go to the semis. Then.
Man, the Oedo Tai Civil War is
Yeah,
coming.
that's true, man. That's true, man. Yeah.
All right, let's get to that lower right quadrant now. Mirai versus Hanan.
I would love for Hanan to upset here, but I think Mirai is gonna have a strong showing to start,
Yeah.
being the tournament winner last year.
Yep, I also have Mirai winning. Saya Ida versus Miyu Amasaki.
I think Ida, but I would love if Miyu won this.
Same, bro. Same. Natsupoi versus Mina.
I'm actually going to say draw, believe it or not. Mina has Natsupoi's number, so if it's not a draw, I'm 100% convinced Mina's winning. But I'm thinking draw just like they did in Naniwa Roulette.
I've got Mina going over here, and then going over Ida as well.
All right.
Koguma versus Tekla.
I'm going to say Koguma here, unfortunately.
I have Tekla, actually. And then Hina versus XX. I picked XX.
See, now I will pick an X here because Lady C, I feel like, is getting pushed just enough that she'll beat X, but XX I think is going to beat Hina because Hina's still.
See, and I told a little bit of a story here because I think both of the X's in this tournament are going to be Gaijin, whether they're people from the UK or from the US or whether it's Trinity or whatever. I think they're both going to be Gaijin. So I had, as I said, Mina beating Poi and then beating Ida. I also had her beating Mirai. And I had XX beating Hina and then beating Tekla to get to Mina. So we've got XX versus Mina in the quarters for me. And I've got Mina going over with XX then asking to join Club Venus.
Okay.
So that's my story in that bottom right quadrant, basically. I built it around XX getting into Club Venus.
Okay.
How about you? What does your whole bottom right quadrant look like then once you finish it out?
Okay, so bottom right quadrant, let's take a look at this again. So I had Mirai beating Hanan.
Yeah.
I pessimistically picked Ida.
Yeah,
so
we've been over this stuff. I'm talking like after the first round.
No, I'm just kind of refreshing my own memory here.
Oh,
okay. I actually didn't formally make a bracket. That's the thing. So I've got to remind myself what I did here.
You said that you had Poi and Mina going to a draw, so that means that you would get Mirai versus Ida.
Yeah, Mirai's winning that, 100%.
Okay. And then you said you had Koguma beating Tekla, so it would be Koguma versus XX.
And I'll be bold, I'll go XX again.
And then you've got XX versus Mirai.
Mirai, definitely.
Okay, so you've got Mirai versus Kid then in the semis on that side, right?
And then, yeah.
And then you've got Micah versus Mayu in the semis on the left side, right?
Yes.
Okay, wow. I need to make a quick edit on my actual bracket, my physical bracket here, because I had Julia going one step too far. I've got to walk that back and put Micah where I had Julia. There we go. Okay, so for me, I've got Micah versus Kashima in the semis on the left, and Kid versus Mina in the semis on the right.
Ah, nice.
You've got Micah Mayu and Kid Mirai.
Yes.
I'm curious if we end up with the same final, though. We might, because it's possible.
It is possible, yeah. Um, but I don't think so because after really deliberating it, I have. Do you want me to just say what the final is? Like, how are we
Yeah, yeah,
doing that? I don't
yeah.
want to jump the gun. Mayu versus Kid in the finals.
Oh, of course. Oh my God. I have Micah versus Kid in the finals.
To me, Micah. If it's Micah Kid, Micah is definitely winning. But if it's Kid Mayu because of that story, Kid finally beating Mayu for such a huge prize, because for where Kid is right now, a Wonder title shot is a huge prize. That would be amazing. Plus, didn't Mayu win the first two Cinderella tournaments like in Stardom
Yes, she
history?
did.
So like it's history out the ass, it's poetry out the ass. It's perfect. And
Plus,
you
Maya's been
have
doing a
Kid.
lot of bridesmaiding recently, I feel like, where she's like almost but not quite winning big things.
Yeah, and I love that, for me, I have Kid beating the former Cinderella tournament in the winner in the semis because I won last year.
Right.
So for me, even though I don't want to jump the gun, I don't want to say any about yours because you're gonna say that in a few moments. I really wanted this because I envisioned Kid winning to give her the biggest possible fucking rub. Because here's the thing, if Kamitani gets past Mina a second time with how hot Mina Shirakawa is right now, momentum wise, it's just really going to look like who can beat her. But I think if you give Kid this kind of Cinderella tournament, that makes her a very believable answer to beat Kamitani, on top of the fact that she beat her in the 5-star last year. So, yeah, I want to give Kid all that momentum. Beat Mirai and Mayu. Those are the two huge wins for her. And whether she succeeds in her bid or not for the white belt after the fact, you have her beating Natsuko in her back pocket as the story she does in the aftermath. So I really want to give Kid a meaty fucking 2023, and I think this is really the start of that. So
Like an asteroid or even meteor.
even meteor.
Damn, that's meaty.
2 out of 10. All right. So what do we got here on your side? Wrap it up.
Micah versus Kid. My heart says Kid, but my brain says Micah, man. I think Micah's winning the tournament here this year.
Damn, I thought you were gonna go Kid all the way.
I
Wow.
thought I was too. I thought I was
Was this a
too. But
last minute switch for you?
it
What
was
the hell
well, it
happened?
was kind of, but not really. It's been building up to it for a while. I had a conversation with Kirby recently, where we basically agreed that Kid and Umasaki are most likely winning the New Blood tag titles,
Okay.
which, in my opinion, makes it less likely for Kid to challenge for a singles title.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I like Ken Numasaki, but now I hate it. I was excited for those new blood tag titles, but if it comes at the expense of this, no, no.
Yeah.
I really hope not. I really hope, because again, I like Micah, and I can even rock with a Wonder Stardom title reign, but not as much as the alternative. If this is a viable alternative, like
Right.
this is what I want.
Yeah, like
So
I think if
yeah,
I had to like I said, my heart is with Kid. I'm gonna be rooting for Kid to win for sure. But if it does come down to this, I'm gonna be rooting for Kid hard without a doubt, and I'm gonna hope she's gonna win. But I'm gonna be expecting Micah to win the whole time. And this is more about predicting what you expect rather than just fantasy booking what you want to happen.
yeah. Also, I hate to be that guy, and this is to your credit, not to mine. If anything, it's to my discredit. I always feel like with the Cinderella tournament, it is still the wrestling business, and aesthetics still matter. So you've also got to think about the dress and the ceremony, and who does Stardom really envision in that dress. And while I think Kid is fucking adorable, I think it's a weird thing, like a masked wrestler, like in a dress and stuff like that. I don't know if Stardom feels the same way. And I just feel like Micah would be more of a quote unquote like traditional pick for them. You
Right.
get her in the dress, she cuts the fucking promo. So I can, and Kirby said the thing. God damn it. I would have loved if you would have said it about Kid, Kirby. That would have made my heart flutter. But no, no, it's about Micah because, of course, it is. Where were you during her birthday, man? We were doing a live reaction. I'm like, where's Kirby? Um, but yeah, that's the only reason I can't even be so dismissive about you switching at the last second and being like, rationally, if I'm trying to be correct, I've got to think Micah.
I
because
think
I've always thought
Micah's
too.
Cinderella dress would be similar color to Kamitani's, actually.
Yeah. And so, because really the thing is, what would they do with Kid? They'd probably do like some kind of black or purple dress, because that's like her auto
Purple
tie
for sure,
aesthetic.
yeah.
Yeah. And
And that would
I
be cool
think,
as
again,
hell, honestly.
I think she'd be lovely. Again, but I don't know if Stardom has that view, because you have to imagine that that picture is going to be in pro wrestling magazines in Japan and stuff like that. And it's like, well, who's really marketable? And I always feel like they've had an interest in marketing Micah
Yeah.
harder, So again, if I'm really being more meta about it than I should be, probably, I could really see the Micah case very strongly, as a matter of fact. And it is what it is. I think Micah's been putting the work in. I like her more than I ever have right now. It's just Kid. I feel like she's gonna heat up again, and I really want her to take it all the way this time. So yeah, Kid Mayu in a final would be fucking dope. But Micah Kid in the final would be dope. That's the one thing about this tournament as a whole. I will say, you've got such talent in this tournament this year. If you don't fuck it up, you could have really compelling semis and a final. This tournament could be one of the better Cinderella tournaments that we've covered. That's what I'm hoping for. So yeah, you're picking Micah. I'm sticking with Kid. So let's see what
I'm
happens.
rooting for Kid, man. I really am. I
I
really
know.
hope she wins. Like, I don't want me picking Micah to win to make it seem like I want her to win because, as much as I wouldn't hate it if she won, I'm still just so firmly behind Kid more than anyone by far.
I will say, just to be easy on Micah, because I know Micah's in the past even dealt with like wrestling fans bullying her on Twitter and
Yeah.
all that. And I just want to make it crystal clear that's not what this is. I'm just a really big Kid fan. And I will say, too, in Micah's defense, because, I don't want to be a total dick. If there was ever a time for her to get pushed, and I mean pushed all the way, like to the white belt, which they've teased the last couple of years, I think this is the time. I think, she's been, again, really good lately.
Do
She's
we
made a
think that
fan
if
out
she
of me,
does win the
even.
white belt, that she's going to try and make out with every single challenger at every single press conference?
Yes, and honestly, even though I should be like more uncomfortable about that, because just the culture and the climate at present, the way they frame it is always a bit more comedic. So yeah, I'd enjoy Micah kind of having her personality, even if it is a bit on the hornier side. So we'll have to see how that goes. Oh man. All right. Is there anything else to really talk about with this tournament?
I think we've pretty much covered every corner of it, man. I mean, unless you want to start getting into like hypotheticals of things that we didn't really include in our official predictions, I'd be
I,
fine with
I only
that.
have, I only have one hypothetical to
Okay.
ask about,
All right.
really. I know, again, that's why I didn't want to make a big stink about it until the very end. That usually the winner picks the Wonder of Stardom champion. But just to give pause to that for a second, is it possible now with the IWGP championship in the mix that the winner might go after that title
Ooh.
instead?
I mean, fuck, man. If that's in play, all of a sudden I'm thinking like Utami and Mayu are in the conversation to win the whole tournament.
Because that's the thing too. I think if we're again being rational, um, if we're being rational, we're having an honest conversation about this. I also would have to inquire how much of our pick is informed by this idea, almost this bias that like the winner's just going to pick the Wonder of Stardom champion because that's
Yeah.
been the precedent.
Yeah.
Like how much
No,
is
you're
of our
right. You're
thinking
100%
conditioned by
right. We
precedent?
are we are
Yeah,
very much biased by the history of the tournament and how it's always been, but things are definitely different now and you are right about that. You are 100% right about that. And really, I think if if we're living in a world where challenging for the IWGP World Title is something that's on the table, I might even just go all out and say Mayu wins the tournament, and that's how she gets her shot at Yokohama Budokan, because that match isn't official yet.
right, right.
It would just feel like a waste because it's like they've been doing the IWGP World Title match. They're just challenging. Like you don't have to earn your shot. You just challenge Mercedes and she accepts it, and that's just it.
Yeah,
So it would feel
yeah,
almost like a waste of a Cinderella tournament to have somebody use a Cinderella tournament win to challenge for the IWGP World Title when it's so much easier to just get a shot at it?
yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I really wanted to put that out there because I will say if the IWGP Women's Championship is on the table, I agree with you about Mayu being a potential winner. Definitely Utami's back in play. Um, I don't know, man. Again, I
Mina.
just feel like Mina's definitely in play. Although I will say they haven't. Can I put this? Because I don't want to fumble my words here. Like Stardom definitely reveres the IWGP Women's Championship. You know, they've got the partnership with Bushi Road. Everything's going well, but they've never really gone out of their way to do contenderships for that title because the title's in a weird position to me where it's both in universe but also not in a way because it's also like New Japan. So to me, Cinderella and Five Star are in universe tournaments. And so you want to focus on those like championships that are well
Yeah,
established.
exactly. Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally agree with you on that because, like, the IWGP Women's Championship isn't a Stardom championship, it's a New Japan championship.
Exactly. And to me, again, because of the precedent, so I know you're with this too, because we've covered Cinderella for like what the last 2 years. You know, the Cinderella is the Wonder Championship tournament, and the Five Star is the World Championship tournament. So I think our picks stay intact and everything else. It's just something I wanted to float out there because this is the first Cinderella with the IWGP Women's Championship in the mix. And so with a changed landscape, that's something we always need to consider. But yeah, again, just to reaffirm, you're picking Micah, rooting for Kid, but rationally picking Micah. And I'm going all in on Kid because I really feel like she's heating up, and I feel like another thing too, and I'm definitely biased on this point, but that match with Azumi was so fucking good that I would hope that it would give people pause and be like, oh, maybe we should go with this. But I don't know. I mean, now that's just if I was holding the pencil. So thankfully I'm not, I guess. But yeah, Cinderella tournament opening night, Sunday morning, 2 a.m. Guys, be there. I can't fucking wait for this shit. It is gonna be freaking awesome. And yeah, I hope to see all you guys there. Ashton, is there anything else you want to say before I take us home?
No.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Please leave a like as you follow us, subscribe, click the bell icon for notifications. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. Follow us on Twitter and Twitch because we are the best wrestling podcast in all the IWC. And I know Ashton and I talked. If Stardom gets their next show up, which I want to say would be what, the 318 show,
It's the
which would
Mayu
be
Homecoming show.
yeah, the homecoming show for Mayu. Uh, we would agree that 5 p.m. tomorrow would be a good time to react. And then after that, 10 p.m. is Twitwell in Review. Twitwell in Review is now 10 p.m. on Saturdays. That time change, I think, has been in effect for like 2 weeks. So just in case anybody still is unaware, that is the time for Twitwell in Review. And then, like I just said, 2 a.m. Sunday morning, Cinderella tournament opening round. It's going to be good stuff, guys. I am really excited for the Cinderella this year, especially for X and XX. A lot's going to be revealed opening night. And yeah, we're on the road to the Cinderella. Kamitani better be watching closely. Kamitani won. That would be interesting because I guess then she would just go after the red belt, but that ain't happening. So, all right, guys, we'll see you then. And until then, take care of yourselves and each other. Tune in. Peace out.